Hi, Krishan. Thank you so much for joining us on Blitz Business. It's a pleasure to have you.
Yeah, good morning, Ashish. It's an honor to be with you today.
Awesome. Let's get started. So, Krishan, tell us a little bit about yourself first.
Thank you so much for asking me this question, Ashish. I'll start with my initial journey of life. So, I was born in a place called Jammu, and since then I'm traveling because my dad worked for the Indian Army. Studied at various places, did my 10th from a place called Jodhpur in Rajasthan, did my 12th from a place called Misamari in Assam, and then went for my graduation in Indore and post graduation from and after that, I started working. It's been around 21 years. Initially, for 10 years, was working in the financial services domain. I used to manage large size public sector and private sector banks. And then I decided to get into education. So, last 11 years, I have been working in the education sector. And yeah, it has been a very interesting journey for me.
So, which of these different part of your journey you like the most?
So I think the regular travel during my school days actually helped me a lot in terms of learning about new people, new languages, new cultures. Every time we used to be in a new state. In fact, I used to look for new friends because every 2.5 years we were in a different school. Right, so it has been a very interesting journey. That helped me a lot in terms of learning a couple of additional languages, and also it took out all the inhibitions of meeting new people, so I can meet new people easily, interact with them, network with them, and take the relationships further with them. It's just because of the opportunity I had because of my dad. Yeah,
That's a very key skill to have,
that's right. That's right. It
isn't
is
it? Yeah.
very important for all of us. Yeah.
And what are the languages you know?
So couple of additional languages which I could read and speak previously are something which I can still read but can't speak much. Languages like Punjabi, Assamese, Bengali, and then I was in Gujarat for some time, so I could understand Gujarati, the Rajasthani language because I spent very good number of years in Rajasthan. So all those things were part of my learning, yeah, in those days.
So let's discuss, Krishan, now your current role, FPSB. So tell us a little bit about FPSB and what you're doing.
Sure. Thank you, Ashish, for asking me this important question. So, my organization, FPSB, which is Financial Planning Standards Board, comes from Denver, Colorado State in the USA. It's a global professional body for setting the standards in the field of financial planning. And in addition to that, we also administer and examine people for a certification named as Certified Financial Planner, which is a gold standard in excellence in the field of financial planning worldwide. Currently, we have got more than 223,700 plus professionals who are working across the globe and helping the clients in terms of making their financial plans and getting them executed. I lead the India operations for the organization, which is a 100% subsidiary of the global organization. And what we do is that obviously we try to help people in terms of learning more about their finances because, as you know, that we might be educated, but we are not financially educated. So our job is majorly to help people in terms of understanding their finances and also make people pick this profession, which is a very noble profession. Wherein, if you get into this profession, you can help a lot of people. So currently, we have got around 2,731 professionals who are working in the market, and my job is obviously to work along with various stakeholders, which includes partners like the corporate partners, the university business school partners, education partners, as well as the regulators and the other important stakeholders like the industry associations. So we work with all of them to create that ecosystem and support the people to look at this profession as well as look at their own finances for their own benefits.
So, what are those key aspects, Krishan, in terms of which, as per your understanding, you have found out these are the things people generally lack, they don't understand? Like, help us understand, like, in this entire spectrum where uh, there are gaps in which you guys are trying to um, fill in.
Thank you, Ashish. Again, a very important question. Now, if you look at our country, we have been a society wherein uh, we have always thought of earning money first and then worrying where to spend. If you look at our parents, our grandparents, and their parents, etc., we used to earn money first and then worry about spending. Now, what has happened apparently in the last 20-25 years is that we spend money first and then worry from where will I earn and repay. There has been a complete shift in the thinking and the mindset of people. If you remember, before 2000, we did not had many options in terms of investments, in terms of various financial products, loans, credit cards. Nothing was there. However, post 2000, you will see that there are so many financial products which have come. There are so many other options which have come in front of people. And in fact, the incomes have risen. If you talk to people who actually started working in the 70s, they'll tell you that I used to earn money in hundreds. People who are working in the year from say 85 to 90, they will tell you that I used to earn money in thousands. People who started from 2000 onwards, they started talking about CTCs in lakhs. And now, post pandemic, we hear most of the people talking about CTCs in crores. So you have more income, the earnings are increasing, and then you have got various products which you're not aware of. Now, the challenge is that we have got a lot of people who would like to advise us, though they are not qualified enough or certified to give you that advice. Now, if you talk to people, you'll have everyone coming and telling you that, no, no, do this. I have done this. I have made money. You can also make money. You should take this loan. You should not take this loan. So there are a lot of people who will give you those advices. However, what our job is to ensure that we make people understand that if you have to take the advice, take it from the right person, a person who is actually qualified and who can actually think about your benefit, not their own personal benefit. I can just quote an example here that when we go and watch a cricket match, Ashish, there are a lot of people who will be sitting in the fence and they'll say that, okay, if I would have been there, I would have hit that ball out of the boundary. But this guy never played cricket, right? In the similar way, you have a lot of people who would like to give you investment advice who have actually not invested themselves ever in their lives. So we would like to take care of these kind of challenges. Yeah.
That's a great analogy, Krishan. But isn't it a worrying trend then? Because now, if people are spending first instead of like saving and then spending, it's the cycle of reverse. Isn't it a worrying trend? Like,
So
won't
this is
this have
quite,
issues?
yeah, Ashish, this is very, very interesting. What is happening is if you look at Gen X, yeah, because Gen X are the people who would be in their 40s and they would be close to their 50 right now. These people never had a precedence or learning from anyone, right? Because our parents, our grandparents, they never did all those investments, etc. So whatever came to us, we tried, we tested, we failed, and then learned, right? So it was like we made mistakes and then we learned that, okay, something is right, something is not right. However, if you look at the current generation, which is Gen Z and the younger generation, which is coming out in the market, they have got a good amount of precedence from their parents. They actually have an opportunity to learn from them. And practically, they use media a lot. They use internet. They try to learn from other people. So that's why that knowledge is coming to them. So they are more thinking about savings rather than just thinking about spending. So there has been I would say, some amount of shift. But however, if you look at Gen X, and in fact, a lot of people in Gen Y also, they would be waiting for their salary every month. It's a very, very important question mark when somebody is living, because if you are waiting every month for your salary, which means that you are not able to manage your finances really well. And the situation is that probably finances are managing you, and which is worrisome for all of us. So I would say that yes, there have been some challenges, but yes, there have been some good number of people who had been doing that on a regular basis, and people have been learning it. However, the knowledge towards finances is a big challenge. Let me quote an example here. We have met a lot of people who are in the senior leadership in various organizations. They might be navigating their organizations really well. They might be managing their P&Ls really well. However, when it comes to their own personal finances, they struggle. So you might be an MBA, you might be a chartered accountant, you might be a qualified professional, did so many professional courses, but then also you are not able to manage your finances. So as I mentioned to you that we might be educated, we are not financially educated, and that's a bigger challenge to take care of.
Even CS, I mean, CS to knows number very well, right? No?
Yes, yes. So what happens is, Ashish, that there's a big difference between accounting and finance. Accounting is a process wherein we actually look at the current position or the previous position of an organization, right, on a particular date. However, finance and financial planning is more of a forward-looking function wherein you're talking about the future and the present, both. Right, so there the entire thought process changes. Majority of things which we teach in the financial planning program in our course practically is not being taught to us in our entire education system. So, to name a few, we cover the nuances of investment management and planning. We cover the insurance, retirement, and tax planning. We cover the estate planning and risk management. And then we ask people to actually prepare a real life financial plan before they write the final examination. So, you can understand that most of these areas are not being taught in the school education system as well as the college education system, as well as if you look at the university at the post graduation level and Further, there is no knowledge which is being shared with people, though it is a life skill which all of us need to learn. So I think there are certain significant steps which we need to take at various levels to help people to understand this uh, at an early stage in their lives.
And what is the reason like then schools are not teaching and people are learning from Instagram or TikTok or whatever Twitter these things, and these are not the right, they are the not right sources for the at least the newer generation. So why does this gap exist in the market in first place? So let's dive deeper. Like, why does companies like your are coming in to fill in this void? Why isn't like institutions, government taking steps, or are they taking such steps?
Thank you again, Ashish, for asking this question. In India, yes, we have been slightly delayed. We moved very fast in the last few years. If you look at the mutual fund industry itself, in the last 10 years, we have grown by 6 times. Yeah, from 9 lakh crore to 54 lakh crore. That's the way in which we have grown. However, if you look at the number of investors in the market, that number is pretty small, right? If you look at people preparing their budgets, hardly there's a survey which says that only 27% of the people prepare their own budgets during the year, right? So there are around 77% people, 73% people who do not do that. So practically, what we have seen in the last few years is that the government has actually started thinking about it. They have started taking those steps. In fact, the boards are thinking about bringing it as a part of the education system and the curriculums. Though there have been some delays, however, in the last few months, we have seen the Prime Minister talking about it as a life skill when it comes to finance. In fact, it is part of the UN SDGs also, the Sustainable Development Goals, right? Because if the individuals and families are not doing well, then how will you think about the society and the economy to go, right? So it is really very important for you to ensure that each individual in the society is able to do well, or the family is doing well. Then only you are able to think about the economy as well. So, in fact, I have seen that UGC chairman has spoken about it, that it needs to be brought in as a part of the curriculum. The AICT, if you look at the finance minister, she spoke about this being introduced in the school level, right? So there are some significant steps which government is trying to take, and we are there to support. We are very happy to bring in the global expertise as well as the knowledge which we carry, because this is something which has already become more or less compulsory in developed markets like US, Canada, Europe, as well as Australia, etc. So there it is part of the education system already. We have been slightly delayed, I would say, but yes, nevertheless, whenever you start, that's the point to start off and then move ahead. Yeah.
And you brought a very interesting point of this. I need to understand from you what is happening in this mutual fund industry space. Like I was seeing data, 20,000 crores. I think last month or last to last month, they are collecting. And it was more actually, I think last month, around 30, 40,000 crores, some sort of huge number, right? So, like, what's happening? Like, everybody going SIP way, and doesn't it feel like an I read statement of chairman SBI? She
Yeah.
was saying it's a froth in the market, right? So there are multiple angles, multiple things. People are saying different things, but at least SEBI chairperson knows better than most of us. I think so. But what's this happening like for 20,000, 40,000 crore? Then other side is saying there is fraud in the market. Like,
I would not say that it is a fraud. We need to understand one thing, that, say, for example, 20 years back, somebody would have invested in a mutual fund, right? And at that time, like, nobody used to think about it that, okay, if I'm earning 100 rupees, I'll put, say, 5 rupees towards the mutual fund. If I did that for a period of 20 years, today I will have a very large corpus to look forward to. Why? Because of the power of compounding and the systematic investing which I have been doing. So, what happens is, when we do investment systematically and for a longer period of time, we make money, which is very natural. Now, if somebody is thinking about a short term gain in life, then only these are the people who actually burn their fingers, hands, and whatnot in their body. Right. So, practically, if you're thinking about investing for a small period, then coming out of it, then only you lose. However, what is happening is that not all the products would be the right products for us at this stage. So, for example, 15 years back, a particular mutual fund was launched. Let's say a scheme was launched, right? Somebody invested in that scheme. Say, for example, your uncle did that, Ashish. I'm just quoting an example here. Your uncle invested in a particular growth fund of a mutual fund company. That fund has given him 160% return in the last, say, 20 odd years. Do you think that you will also get the similar return if you invest in the same mutual fund today? say 20 years later? Not necessary, right? So
And
that's what we need to understand, and that's why we need financial planners who can understand your risk appetite, who can understand your needs, right? Who can understand how you are supposed to navigate your life goals, because it is more about defining your life goals, not about just the financial goals. Financial goals are part of the life goals, right? So your foremost thing is to define your life goals, and then have the financial goals being associated with them, and then navigate them. And at every stage, every milestone, you need somebody to give you that guidance. Now, for example, if I have got fever, right? I will go to a doctor, right? I will talk to the doctor, and then obviously take a medicine. And then say I have some other major problem, I'll go to a doctor and talk, right? So, but when it comes to my finances, when I see those symptoms, so first symptom is that, are you waiting for your salary every month? That okay, after 20th, you are thinking that when will 30th come, right? Then it's a symptom for you that okay, you need to get it cured, right? If, for example, you are already doing well and you have peaked on all your finances, then also it's a symptom that how do you make it grow further, right? So that's another area to look forward to. So both the sides, there are challenges. If you have more loans and your debts are becoming a burden on you, it is really very important for you to go to a doctor, and a financial doctor. I would say that these people are actually the financial doctors. They can actually look at the wellness, and when I say wellness, it means that they will be more proactive rather than being reactive for the individual. They will create that plan and help them navigate that. Most of the times, what mistake we do is that we think that if I go to a consultant, if I go to an advisor, I need to pay money to them. But then remember one thing, that whatever money we pay to these advisors, yeah, the cost towards it is much lesser than the cost of losing money in them.
tell me, Krishan, in terms of so you guys also provide the medicine, or you only educate?
Yes, again, a very, very important question. So, our financial planners, certified financial planner professionals, what they do is that they will identify the disease, okay, and then they'll tell you that generic products. For example, if you have fever, they'll say have paracetamol. They will never say you have Crocin. Why? Because Crocin is a product. Their job is to give you a plan which will tell you about your assets, your liabilities, your asset diversification related things that you need to do, look at the goals, milestones, etc., and then tell you that okay, how you have to navigate it. So everything would be defined really clearly. That, for example, this much amount of money you should invest in insurance, this much for your health insurance coverage, this much in mutual funds, this much in equity, this much in debt. All types of identifications would be done, and then accordingly the plan will come in front of you. Now this would be dependent on your information. And Ashish, one thing which I wanted to share is that your financial plan and my financial plan would be very different from each other. They cannot be a single solution. Like, for example, Crocin can actually solve the fever, but then the solution cannot be similar for both of us, because your life journey and my life journey are very different. In fact, your brother's life journey, your father's life journey, your son or daughter's life journey, your wife's life journey would be different. So each one of you need to have a separate plan. Never think that okay, only one plan would be able to take care of the entire family and everyone together. That doesn't happen. You have to customize it as per the individual choices.
So how do you then you guys make money? Is there a consultation fees, or how do you charge for such service?
So normally, what happens is, because these are fiduciary services, so they certified financial planner professionals, they do two things. One is obviously in case they are working with the organization, they are paid salaries and their bonuses, etc. That's quite normal in the working of the corporate sector. However, if somebody is practicing, right, and there are a lot of people who practice also, what they do is that they take different licenses which are needed for them to perform that particular job in the market. As we know that to give an investment advice, you need to have the registered investment advisor license from the SEBI. So they go ahead and do that. If you want to give a insurance advice, you can take the insurance advisory license from the IIDA. In the similar way, they do that. However, sometimes the larger certified financial planner professionals, they normally don't go for it. They appoint people who are already qualified and they work under them. So in that way, also they go ahead and practice. So these are practically not selling people. These people do not look at just transactions, right? So their job is not to look at selling you one product and vanish tomorrow. They have to be there with you throughout your life, and that's the job of a consultant, right? Because, say, for example, your goal today is X, right? 5 years later, your goal might change from X to Y because your income has changed, your lifestyle has changed. Maybe somebody got married, somebody has got kids, more kids. So life completely changes because of that. And sometimes you might inherit some kind of a good amount of money from your forefathers, etc., and which you had never thought of. right? Then how do you manage all such situations is something for which you need a certified financial planner.
So this sort of makes me think then, what are the top two or three mistakes people generally make? If you have some instances or some financial mistakes people like tend to um, make during their financial planning, if you can help us understand and highlight those issues.
So, couple of things, Ashish, and this is a very, very important question. Let me quote an example here. That say somebody who completes his MBA at the age of say 22, right? He gets his first job as a placement from the campus. This boy gets say a package of 15 lakhs per annum. Okay, joins the organization. A couple of days later, a credit card company guy comes and he issues a credit card to him, and he takes the credit card very happily. By the time he has got his first salary, the parents and everyone is putting pressure on him that, okay, we have been staying on rent for a very long time. Can you buy a house right now? And this boy thinks that, okay, let me do that. And takes a house on loan, right? Credit card is already taken. There are a lot of other expenses which he does from that credit card. The loan which is already on the head. His salary is say at 15 lakhs, you would get hardly say 90,000 or 95,000 after all the deductions, right? Or maybe less than that. Now, with that salary, he will not be able to think about planning for the investments, planning for the future, right? He or she would like to wait for some time and thinks that, okay, by the time I touch, say, 28 or 29, at that time I'll think about it. But by the time he or she is 28, 29, though he might have changed his job, his salary might have increased, but then he gets married at that age, and then his expenses go up further. And then say he thinks that, okay, I would like to do it by say 32, 33. By then he has kids. Now he's thinking about kids education and the other things, and the savings are towards that only majorly. Practically, because of this, what happens is a 22-year person, okay, takes at least 20 years to think about the investments, because by the time he is 41, 42, then only he is able to repay all these kind of debts, etc., right? And because of this, what happens is this person has lost 20 precious years of his or her life. For example, the 10,000 or 15,000 or 20,000 rupees which you are paying as a EMI, and say you add the rent to it, whatever rent you are paying, if you would have invested that money and made that money grow in 20 years' time, the kind of corpus you would have created is amazing. Like, for example, just one example I'll quote. When you buy a car, most of the times people feel that if I buy a car, it's a asset for me, but practically it's a liability. Because say you buy a car today, 5 years later the depreciated value is much lower than what it was. Now, for the same amount of money, if you would have invested that money in gold, say for example buying jewelry for your wife, that gold would have grown by 5 times or 3 times, whatever, right? So practically, and this is what we have seen happening in the market. But then I'm not saying that all the things are right here, because buying a car is also important for someone, right? So you have to drive, and then you have to reach your office and wherever you want to go. So all those things are important. However, the first mistake that we do is that we actually just go ahead and spend what we earn. Instead of that, we should always think about keeping some money for savings, for investments, and also for emergency, right? Emergency fund keeping is a very, very important area. Most of the people realize the importance of emergency fund during pandemic, right? They started asking about it, that I did not do it. I never thought about it. Or maybe when people lose jobs, then they practically think about the importance of emergency. We need to have a corpus of say 6 months or 1 year of our salary, or maybe in case we are entrepreneurs, right, 1 year of the expenses and the salaries that we need to pay to our employees had to be kept as an emergency fund. Otherwise, we'll be in trouble, right? So most of the people make that mistake. People don't buy insurance early in life, thinking that nothing will happen to me. That's another myth, right? Whether you are young or old, hospitalization can happen anytime with anyone. It doesn't matter what age you are, right? So it is really very important for you to have those health insurances, your term life coverages, and all those things starting at an early age, because when you are young, you pay a lower premium. When you grow older, then you pay a higher premium. So it is always advisable to start early, so that in your rainy days you have an umbrella to take care of.
Many things to be learned in this world of finance.
That's right. And this is actually most of the times we feel, Ashish, that we know all these things, right? And uh, I was reading somewhere that knowing everything is a syndrome. Yeah. I've seen people saying that, oh, I am a chartered accountant, I am an MBA, or maybe I'm a certified financial planner professional. I know everything. No, you don't know. It's about learning more and keeping yourself abreast with whatever is happening in the market is really very
So,
important.
So, Krishan, who does financial planning for a certified financial planner? Like a doctor cannot diagnose himself. So,
Correct. So it
extending
depends.
that analogy.
Yeah, yeah. It's a very interesting question. It depends. Though certified financial planner professionals think that they can do it themselves, and that is one of the reasons why we ask people to do this course. Because sometimes what happens is it is not about you going and advising someone else. It is about managing your own finances, right? For example, you are the owner of an organization, and I'll quote an example here that I have seen some of the CEOs when you go and ask them that what is happening with your finances, he'll say that I don't know. My CFO knows, right? And then that's a very bad situation to be in, right? If you're a CEO and if you do not know about your finances, then you are not at the right position. You should know about them. And when you are a professional yourself, you know these things yourself, then I think you will be able to navigate the things not only better for your organization, for yourself too. For example, if you understand the importance of health insurance, just a very small thing I'm saying, then you will think about the health insurance of all your employees also. You will think about managing their risks also, which is their well-being too. All those things are really very important. So certified financial planner professionals, though they try to do it on their own, sometimes they take advice from others also. And it's always better to take a second opinion in life when people say that you are going wrong somewhere, right? So sometimes more knowledge also becomes harmful for you. So that's why they go and talk to the other people. And as you rightly mentioned, it happens in the similar way as it happens with the doctors.
Wonderful. Thanks again, Krishnan, for your time. It is very interesting, very fascinating, and I think such initiatives are needed all level, right? In terms of to understand and plan your finances. Anything you want to share from your side, which we may have missed, or your thoughts?
So I think first of all, I think thank you so much for having me here. That gives me a feeling that yes, there is some good seriousness amongst the people to understand more about their finances. The other thing is that yes, what I feel is that India is a very large country. The kind of population that we have is around 1.44 billion, the largest population in the world now. However, the population that we have is the youngest population in the world. Our average age is around 28.4. In fact, the majority of the working population that we have, right? So if you look at people who are in the working periphery, like between 20 to say 60 years of age, we have got 65% of the population which lies in that area. However, at each stage, people tend to make a mistake that, okay, I will wait for a longer period. And but the challenge is that the time never waits for you, right? The time never waits for you, and it is really very important for us to start now, at whatever age we are, at whatever timeline we are. It is really very important for us to start at that level. Think about our finances. Think about it as a very very important area for our families. And why I'm talking about it is, Ashish, that if you look at the 90% of the cases wherein people look at committing suicides, etc., I would say that 70% of them are because of the financial distress. Yeah, which is a big challenge for our country to control. And I think if people are able to think about it, talk about it, I think it is really very important for us to have these kind of discussions on the dinner tables, right? It is really very important for us to prepare a budget every year on 1st of April or say 1st of Feb when the finance minister talks about the budget for the country. So all the individuals should definitely think about doing that on their own. If they're not going to a professional, at least think about their own budgets at least, right? And the third thing is that never uh, think that, okay, if you inform your family about your finances, if you inform your family about your insurance and other things, you will have a problem. It is always good for you to go ahead and tell them, because we have seen cases wherein family is not aware and the person is hospitalized and he is unconscious. Family has to spend money. They have to just borrow money from somewhere, right? And then when the person wakes up, and they ask the wife that, okay, how did you manage to pay this money? Wife said that, I sold my jewelry. I took it from the neighbor. And then the husband says that, oh, you did not check the Almira. I had kept my health insurance policy there. Now, this is a big challenge, right? So can we think about keeping our health insurance cards along with our PAN cards and Aadhaar cards in our wallets? Yeah, that's really very important. Some certain very, very small things, and talking about it is really very, very important. I would like to urge people to talk about their own financial situation, at least with their families, if not with anybody else. This will help and take us in a long way.
Excellent points, Christian. I think that health card one is a very great point. How will someone supposed to know if someone has it or not, right? Thank you so much for sharing. with your experience. Many useful things, Krishan, you have shared with us. Again, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Ashish, for having me here. Looking forward to speaking with you soon again. Take care.